Happy New Year, Kata. Many thanks, Andrew, for asking me to speak to you today. It is an honour to be here and to present to you the landowner story in Papua New Guinea and in particular the Anitua story. So firstly, what is a landowner company? It's a bit of a misnomer, really, because landowner companies are not actually landowners as such. Our shareholders have affinity with the land nearby resource projects, so it is a bit confusing for new people to Papua New Guinea to see a landowner company thinking there's a whole lot of land involved when there's not. So it's about a community benefit for local landowners in resource projects. When a resource project gets underway, they definitely want to engage with the local landowners, and of course the landowners themselves are very keen to engage in the project financially. And in Papua New Guinea, this has been very successful across pretty well all the resource projects. You always see the resource project owners wanting to engage the landowners, and Lihir is no different. You'll see there's a reference here to Professor Richard Jackson. He's a professor from University of Queensland. He spent quite a good deal of time in Papua New Guinea investigating and reporting on landco companies, and he's actually got a book which is available on the University of Queensland website if you want to read a little bit more about landowner companies in Papua New Guinea. And it covers not just Anitua, but the ones right across Papua New Guinea. And if you're really keen, there's a whole lot of reading to do there. So the landowner companies have different objectives, and this is some work on increasing their asset base, so that's long term, and some will work on providing the benefits direct to their communities immediately via way of dividends, so that's more short term. So the aims of landcos will differ. So who is Anitua? So we're based on Lihir Island, as I've said. We're around about 800 kilometres northeast of Papua New Guinea, of Port Moresby. Our businesses contain mining services, so we do a lot of mine work for Newcrest. We do a lot of heavy haul work for the material, so we've got a huge investment in machinery. We've got retail, we've got construction, we've got a security company, and we also do own some property, mostly on Lihir and throughout Papua New Guinea. So whilst we're based in Papua New Guinea and our roots are very, very humble, we started out basically as a labour hire force to Lihir Gold Project way back in the early 1990s. So we've definitely come from humble beginnings, and NCS is now the largest camp and catering management company across Papua New Guinea and enjoys a very good reputation. So that's Anitua where we are at, and we're all over Papua New Guinea as well. So we're the most successful landco associated with the PNG mining industry. I guess my compatriot, other landowner companies might disagree, but I think financially we're very successful. So we're the corporate face of Lihirians on Lihir Island, and we work mostly in the larger type contracts, and there are other landowner groups and small businesses that do some of the smaller works on the Lihir Gold Project. So we've got 29 subsidiaries and joint ventures, and we employ over around about 3,000 people, and as Andrew pointed out, we've got 31% women. So we've got so that's the Anitua. We've also got the NCS group, and we've got also the Alliance group, which is the TAG group, and that was involved with the ExxonMobil project. In fact, the TAG also came from a joint venture. We had a joint venture with Gulf Catering Company. That's a big multinational catering company. When we tendered the LNG project with the catering, we joined up with a multinational, and eventually our joint venture partner decided they wanted to depart Papua New Guinea, and our business, the TAG Group, took it on. We've also got a retail operation in Port Moresby recently, which is GDA Fabrications. So, like probably a lot of businesses in Papua New Guinea, we've not been without our issues. In 2007, when the board decided to make some changes, we definitely had across the group some dysfunctional systems and business processes. There was a lot of financial volatility in the group, and we had businesses operating in silos rather than a coordinated corporate structure. We also suffered poor governance and, of course, land co stigma. So, back in 2007, as I said, the board decided they needed to improve the way the group is operating. So the board decided to implement a corporate structure. So that was Anitua Corporate Services, of which I'm a member of the team. They also employed a CEO, a HR manager, and also a marketing manager as well. And also we had a safety manager also as part of our team, given that safety is definitely a priority on mine sites and also ourselves. So the keys to our success, so we've got a focused commercial model. So we've got a corporate business structure rather than a social entity. So that's enabled us as a corporate team to grow the business significantly. So we've implemented corporate governance and a company constitution. We've got long-term vision and plans, which are entailed in the Lihir Destiny, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. We've got strong leadership by senior Lihirians. We've invested a good deal of money training our Lihirians. We've sent a number to university and back in Australia, and one of our educated Lihirians is now the managing director of MRL Capital, Lawrence Rousam. We engage in a whole lot of significant stakeholder engagement and communication, and whatever you're doing in Papua New Guinea on a resource project, whether you're a landco or a resource project owner, you do need to keep people engaged, and the communication's critical. We also, Anitua, understand the complex cultural nuances and marrying stakeholder expectations with commercial management. That's particularly important when we're dealing with our joint venture partners. We've got a very good understanding of the way landowners work and operate and think, and we're able to partner with the other landco groups on commercial terms, and our joint ventures with TAG and NCS have been particularly successful, not just for us but for our partners. So, of course, landcos do have risks, and we are in the land of the unexpected, and things can change very quickly overnight. So the risk of landcos, if you don't have your landowner support, and that being of the clans, you're definitely going to have some issues. There's also the risk of inequalities developing, the haves and the have-nots. So the sharing of the spoils from whatever business you're doing, you can end up with the haves and the have-nots. So developing the company constitution to reflect the landco's purpose, that's critical, and we've done that at Anitua. The other thing, of course, is you've got the resource companies that may not see you as a landco as achieving their long-term goals. So, for example, if a resource company has a short-term focus rather than a partnership approach, and in particular, if you're not seen as representative of the landowners or stakeholders, so resource company do want to work with the stakeholders, but you, as a landco, you've got to make sure that you are representative of your landowner group. And of course, you can have conflict between shareholder return and looking after landcos. I must say, on Lihir, we have been, especially in the early days of the Lihir gold mine, we've been very well looked after, and we've definitely, on most occasions, had very good relations with the resource owner. And of course, you've got competition between landcos, watering down returns and creating new tensions for landowners. So at Anitua, when we set up the corporate structure, it was very clear to us that governance had to be a central theme of where we went. We also wanted to ensure that all our clans were represented on the board. So we've got 6 clans, and all 6 clan chairmen are members of our board. We also have to have very strong corporate governance. So we have audited accounts. In fact, KPMG are our auditors. We have rules for directors, conduct and duties. We have a code of conduct for all our staff. We also have an open door policy for any questions of management. We conduct yearly annual reports, and we conduct a yearly shareholder annual general meetings. And our board meets at least 6 times a year for board meetings where we review strategy, our financials, and just where we're heading. So we're very much sustainably driven. That's sustainability. We could talk here another couple of days on sustainability, but definitely our focus is on sustainability before the mine closes, which means we definitely have to move our business more and more off Lihir. Otherwise, we're going to find that we won't have a business once the mine closes in about 35 years. So we've got plenty of time, but time is marching on. So we're very, very focused on that. Now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the Lihir Destiny. So this is all a part of the integrated benefits agreement between the resource company and the landowners, and the Lihir Destiny is part of the LSDP, which is the Lihir Sustainable Development Plan. So our Lihirian board in the early days were very visionary, or what they wanted out of the mine, and certainly from what I've seen, I have to agree that they had their plans in the right area. So we were looking at commercial viability, that's being the Anitua group. So they wanted one major commercial entity dealing with the mine on a commercial basis, and that was the Anitua group. There's also a focus on education, law and order, personal viability, health, capacity building and agriculture. So Anitua, like everybody else, we're here for not just ourselves but also our people, and corporate social responsibility is very, very important and something we take very seriously. So we're a founding member of and a key supporter of the PNG Business Coalition for Women, and as those of you that work in Papua New Guinea would know, that gender violence is a massive issue, and Anitua is certainly very committed to working with that, with some solutions, and you'll see other businesses working on violence in various other programs as well. So I'd just like to share with you some of our finances, where we've been. In, that says 2009, it's actually 2007. You'll see that our turnover, that's in the grey there, was 239 million, and we had net assets of 55 million. As at the end of 2015, our yearly turnover was 377 million, and we got net assets of 228 million. That is after a dividend that we've paid our shareholders. Mind you, during that period we've we haven't paid a lot in dividends. Our board has been very supportive to grow the business. We've paid around about 10 million kina in dividends during that period to our shareholders. So we've had a very supportive shareholders and board to grow our business. In 2016, like a lot of businesses, we faced challenging economic times. So our expansion plan slowed. We faced fierce competition for new contracts on Lihir. And to be fair, Anitua was slow to react to the changing economics. So our focus is now more on our core business. We're conducting a thorough review of each business and a review of our governance practices, and we're focusing on providing value to our clients. And as we all know, we have to place the client or the customer at the centre of our business and the way we do business, because if we don't, we're going to fail. And we also will be working on innovation and business excellence approach, and we've talked about world practice, best practice, and doing things the right way. And that's, Papua New Guinea is no different. It's not a backyard. If you want to do things in Papua New Guinea, you should be looking at world best practice and not try and cut the corners, because you will come to grief. So the future direction of Anitua, we've got to refocus on off-island growth, and it's been very challenging over the last 10 years, particularly with the LNG ramp-up. It's been very difficult to buy any businesses because of the inflated prices. And now it's also now difficult because business has dropped off quite a bit. Anyway, that's what we've got to do, and that's where we're heading. We need to divest in underperforming businesses, and we need to invest in new high growth industries where we can and maximise our competitive advantages. And thank you very much.